What the fuck?
You're not checking Slack, bro. Come on, you're slacking.
Funny man. I'm too busy.
All right. Well, I'm sure some more people will trickle in, but let's go ahead and get going here. So welcome all y'all to this edition of the Blue Ocean. Well, I guess this is the B.O.S.S Builder live call technically. If any of y'all are new here, welcome to the program. If you want to introduce yourself, feel free. If not, no worries. Generally, you know, when you first join, you probably don't have a lot of questions to ask on the live call because, you know, you're still kind of getting settled in and stuff. So no worries if you don't have any questions. If you do, then let us know. Basically, the way that we're kind of structuring it these days is we're going to go through and then we're going to answer the questions that were asked in Slack in reply to the message that Scotty sent, notifying you all about the live call. And then from there, once we've gone through all of those, then we're just going to go through and then answer y'all's questions, you know, as you have them. So we'll let you know when we get to that part. And yeah, basically just want to do everything we can to try to help y'all out and give you some more, I don't know, some more direct kind of a community help type deal. So Scotty, do you have anything like general updates on anything?
Not really. Shipping is starting to get better. Prices should be coming down. I mean, prices are coming down for shipping, and that should reflect on Ali pretty soon if it isn't already. So you should see your prices come down a bit. Shipping times still kind of slowish, but hopefully it'll be back to normal soon. And the bright side is even like if you're shipping from the US, it's like bigger businesses are having issues too, just because a bunch of stuff's messed up in the US right now. So you're kind of on the same playing field whether you're shipping from China or the US. Like either way, it's a little worse than normal, but hopefully all will return to normal pretty soon. Definitely not as bad as it was a month ago or 3-4 weeks ago.
Definitely not. I think the kind of buying frenzy has definitely died down a little bit from where it was like a month or two ago where everything was just going insane. I think it's a little bit back to normal, more normal levels. I think it's still probably up a little bit just because stuff's still closed. But yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get into these questions. Scotty, you copy and pasting these?
Yeah, I sent the first one. It's from Brian.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just one quick question. Hi everyone. One quick question regarding the shipping times and all this going on about ePacket. What we talked in the last call, is it unsuspended or do you have any news about that?
Yeah, it's been unsuspended.
Oh, awesome. That's
still
great.
Still likely delayed a bit, but
yeah, but
same with any shipping option. That the suspension thing was a really weird one. That was only like a couple days, a week max. That for some reason they just must have had such a backlog that they said we're suspending it just to get through the backlog, probably.
Okay, yeah, great.
What?
Thanks.
You're missing out on all the excitement.
What's going on?
We've got water coming through the roof, and you just.
And I'm just gonna mute Nick. Is there a rule of thumb to go by when negotiating with suppliers for product cost and minimum order quantity? I mean, I don't think there's
on this call.
A rule of
Brian.
thumb.
Yeah, can we unmute him? What exactly does he mean by a rule of thumb?
Brian, we can't hear you, brother. Still nothing. That's weird. I heard a little bit at first, and then it just kind of went off. Maybe check your.
Anything now? No.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, cool. What I meant like a rule of thumb is just more of like a guideline in terms of negotiating with the suppliers and everything for like MOQ. Like, do you guys have any advice on that? Because I've never necessarily negotiated with a supplier before.
I mean, if they're from China, the first rule of thumb is that they're probably lying to you. In most of the
in regards to like the price and everything.
No, just like I don't know. It depends on where you're going through. Where did you find the supplier specifically that you're talking with right now?
Just Alibaba.
Alibaba. Yeah, so I think Alibaba is probably a little bit better than the suppliers on AliExpress.
Hmm.
But just I think first rule of thumb is just be wary that don't take everything they say as as rule as fact. You got to take everything they say with a grain of salt because they're for the most part a lot of the time they're just going to tell you what you want to hear, regardless of whether or not that's actual reality. Most of the time they're just going to tell you what you want to hear. So you got to be aware of that. And I think kind of like push through that and like continue to ask questions, like clarifying questions, but not in a way that's like aggressive or doesn't allow them to like save face, because that's really important. In their culture is saving face. It's like not looking bad. So it's kind of hard to explain like how to do that, but I think you kind of like get the lines that I'm going along there.
Yeah.
You can also just ask multiple suppliers what they can offer you in terms of a cheaper price if you order X units, because for most products you're going to have multiple Alibaba listings. Because a lot of listings aren't factories; they're just trading companies. So yeah, you just want to ask them. Minimal order quantity is usually going to be pretty low for most stuff. If your supplier has a super high minimal order quantity, you can just go to a different supplier.
Got it.
You'll usually find at least some company that's willing to send you like 50 pieces, 100 pieces, 200 pieces. And then, I mean, take the listed cost or try to get 20% off, 30% off, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, like saving 20% on product costs is great, but usually it doesn't move the needle all that much in terms of your overall margins.
Got it.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that when you're getting started. White labeling, second question. If you white label, correct. So if you're using third-party logistics, all they do is they store it and they ship it out for you. And they should integrate with Shopify so that the tracking number gets automatically updated in your system, and then it gets sent to the customer. So that's all they do.
So all of the packaging, logos, etc., is all with the manufacturer.
I mean, you have to get the packaging from a manufacturer, whether or not that's the same one that you use to get the product. Obviously, it would probably be ideal to use that same one because it's just going to, cut down on the amount of bullshit you have to deal with. But I don't think you necessarily have to use the same supplier for both. I think that in like, in a worst case scenario, if you got to use different suppliers, like you could have them both shipped to a 3PL, and then you could most likely, depending on the 3PL, probably pay them to, package your product into your custom packaging.
Gotcha.
But I would, as much as possible, like don't worry too much about the packaging. What kind of a product are you selling? You don't have to like say the exact thing, but
it's like a beard growth kit.
Okay, yeah. For that, the packaging's like kind of more important for that than for other things.
Yeah.
But one mistake that I've made is trying to get really nice custom packaging and not really paying attention to how much it was costing. And that just was not worth it. And in the case that I did, it was just not worth it. I spent way too much on the packaging, and it like, does packaging like matter? Like, I think it does, but it's probably not as important as you might think. And I think that especially if it's your first bulk order, you want to minimize the amount of risk you have, i.e. minimize the amount of money you have to put down, i.e. probably use some pretty basic packaging.
Got it.
Have you been selling this already, like successfully for a while?
For a while, define a while. Like
I
for a
mean,
month.
a month.
I'd say about a month I've been profitable.
Gotcha. And the product's straight off Ali, pretty much?
So the ones I were selling were off AliExpress, and then I was like, I want to try and find ones that are maybe higher quality. And I couldn't deal with the suppliers really on AliExpress. They were kind of a nightmare. And so then I was like, let me look into Alibaba. And so then I found some better looking products, and then I was going to get samples for those.
Gotcha. Yeah, you definitely want to get samples for that.
Yeah.
Make sure it's not burning people's facial hair off.
What's up?
Yeah.
Make sure it's not burning people's facial hair off or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So does that kind of answer your question? I know there wasn't like a one.
No, yeah. Now I
quick
understand
answer,
a little bit better.
Okay.
It's more like for clarification.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, well, that's I think you're definitely on the right path, bro. That's definitely where you want to be. That's pretty much what we're doing these days for the most part. Is once we have something working, placing that bulk order to the States, and fulfilling through 3PL, just cuts down on so much of the bullshit that you have to deal with Ali suppliers.
You guys recommend any 3PLs to use?
So hit us up in chat, and we might
Okay.
be able to. It kind of varies because we use. I guess we're using like two different ones right now, and they kind of go back and forth between accepting clients and not accepting clients.
Okay.
But I definitely do know of one that I can't personally vouch for because I haven't used them, but I'm kind of buddies with one of the dudes who runs it. It's called ShipDaddy. So definitely give them a look. I'm not sure what their pricing is going to be, but you probably want to get quotes from multiple different 3PL fulfillment centers, and make sure that you have the dimensions and the weight of your product and stuff, and probably do a little bit of research into how shipping packaging works, because that's something that I probably don't even have a good enough understanding of that. Boxes versus bubble packaging or bubble mailers, or even envelopes for smaller stuff. It just kind of depends. It's all good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, is it a 1 ounce bottle?
It was. That was the one I was using before until I went to Alibaba, because then they don't have that on Alibaba. That's only AliExpress.
Gotcha. I mean, with a 1 ounce bottle, you could do a bunch of stuff like sending it in an envelope, possibly like a bubble wrap type envelope. It's like a padded envelope. That's going to save you quite a bit on
Bubble
shipping.
mailer.
Bubble mailer, yeah. That's going to save you quite a bit on shipping.
Okay.
It doesn't look quite as nice as a custom box. You could also get like a custom like cardboard box, put the bottle in there, and then put in the bubble mailer.
Got it.
Again,
Like,
if you're trying to like design your own logo and everything, I might have some contacts for you there as well. If you want to print your own box, just hit me up. I can maybe put you in touch with someone.
oh, cool. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. Next question is also from you.
Oh, is it really?
Hell yeah. Brian's getting his money's worth. He said, another question is, before putting my logo / branding on my products, should I just sell them with the manufacturer's logo from my 3PLs, or should I just go in and put my logo on it? Suppliers I'm dealing with have very high MOQs for branding and IDK if I can negotiate it. I would say if it's an option, I would see if you could get the product without really any branding on it, whether it be yours or the manufacturer's, and just have it like kind of general. Potentially, if they would do that without considering that, doing custom branding, I feel like that would probably be a good option.
It really depends on what's on their label. If their label has any sort of Chinese shit on it, it's not a good move. Whereas if their label is like a brand name that's okay but nothing special, but in English, and all the writing's in English, then I think that's fine to start. When I went from sort of random bottle to like own custom bottle, own custom packaging, there was a considerable increase in results. So like your advertising results will improve if you do really nice custom bottle, label, custom packaging. Just if you get that branding right, it does improve over sort of generic or shitty packaging.
Gotcha. Because it makes it just consistent with the actual brand and everything.
Yeah, it just gives it a better feel. It's like one of those subconscious things where it's more persuasive. People are more likely to buy. Again, like if you want to send me a picture of what you've got right now, could probably say more. It might be super good already, what you have, and it might be completely shitty. And depending where it is on that spectrum, the importance of going custom is going to be higher or lower.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll hit you up and show you.
Sounds good.
Cool. These are good problems to have, though. It's good. It means you're doing well at the marketing. That's kind of the hard part. I mean, this stuff is definitely hard too.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to kind of grasp it around for the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like it feels more like a real business type stuff. It feels like it's more legit. And,
Definitely.
I think it's definitely a good thing to be working on and getting experience with, because I think that can be a huge advantage if you have experience with that, with product sourcing, and you're able to navigate that. That can come in real handy down the line.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
All right, Scotty, who's this one from?
This is from Rody.
From Rody. How do you go about finding new interests to target after you have tested most of the suggested ones from Facebook? Do you go to completely new audiences or stick around your niche? The first thing I would say to that is, I mean, for the most part, like if you've been running ads for so long that you've already tested like all the interests that you can find, like fairly easily, you should probably be at the point where you don't really even need to target cold interest. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you should have enough data to be able to target like 90% lookalikes.
Yeah, I do that as well. I'm just doing both kind of, and I'm trying to find like new interests to target like cold ones. But like I've tried like around the ones, like find similars with the ones that they work really well, but like they don't perform as good, and I like test a lot. Yeah, so I was just wondering if you have like a strategy that you go about that. Find like similar to the ones that you already have, which are working good.
I mean, off the top of my head, not really. I would say for the most part, once I'm at that stage, I don't really test new cold interests all that much. It's mostly just testing different lookalike audiences, because there's just so many different lookalike audiences you can test.
And more to the point, testing different ads inside audiences that have worked for you in the past. Because you know how ad sets die after a while, just launch them again with a new ad or even with the same ad.
Yeah.
One thing you can do that is sort of like the correct answer to the question you're asking. There's like a tool inside Facebook, I believe it's in Audience Insights, where you can put an interest and it will show you interests that have a high affinity to that interest. So interests that are similar to that.
Yeah.
It'll give you like a long list of them, but it's not like the Facebook suggestions. It's kind of different. That would be an option.
Yeah.
What's that?
I know which
use
one.
that?
I use that as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that's something you can do. But again, like we don't really do that. If you've been running a store for a while, usually we run just a couple audiences that we know work, and testing new audiences after a while kind of becomes less important. It's way more about ad copy, ad creative, and landing page improvements, more so than like new audiences.
Yeah, so I've been using like lookalikes, like purchase, such acquired, VC. What more can I like do from lookalikes as well? Like then you go by percentage. That's what you mean?
You can go by percentage, but you don't even need to do more. Like just do more of the same.
Okay.
I mean, is it working? That's the first question. Is it working? Are lookalikes working, or are our interests working better?
Lookalikes work better than.
There you go. In that case, you want to do more lookalikes. So if 1% lookalikes working well, try 10% lookalike. Try a 5% lookalike. You can split it up so that you do 0 to 2 or 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 7, 7 to 10. You can split up like that, or you can leave them broad. There's a bunch of different things you can try, but ultimately it's not going to come down to the audiences you test. Like once you have something that's working, it's way more about the ads you're using and the landing page rather than testing a million different audiences.
Okay, that's cool. So mainly focus on lookalikes, okay.
And interests. I mean, if you've got interests that have worked for you very well, and I know you do, keep running those. And if they die down, test them again later with a different ad or with the same ad after a week or two. Just keep doing more of what you're doing in terms of audience and focus on the marketing side, because that's where you're really going to make the big improvements.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure thing.
Then Nick said, do you find a significant difference between initiate checkout to purchase lookalikes? I mean, generally speaking, purchase lookalikes are going to look best, are going to work best. But I've seen cases where initiate checkout lookalikes work better than purchase lookalikes, or where view content lookalikes did better than purchase lookalikes. So, I mean, the answer is basically like, is there a significant difference for you? I don't know. You have to test it.
Definitely test it. My best is 2 to 5% view content, $1.50 CPM, 10-cent cost per click. It's like a gold mine.
There you go. Okay.
From Andre.
Is there much difference in selling to US versus UK, France, Germany, and Northern Europe in terms of price tolerance and delivery time expectations? Would you suggest starting from US or Europe, given the unrest in US? What countries in Europe is it worth targeting for English speakers? All right, so there's a couple of questions there. Is there much difference between selling to US versus UK, France, Germany, and Northern Europe? I would say, yeah, there's a pretty big difference. Not so much in the marketing, I don't think. I mean, when you're selling to other countries outside of the US, generally speaking, your CPMs are going to be a little bit lower. You're going to get more traffic, but it's going to be lower quality traffic. So it kind of balances out. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference in price tolerance between the US and Europe. Could be wrong with that, but I haven't noticed anything like that. Delivery time expectations. I would imagine that people in Europe are willing to wait longer than people in the US. People in Europe, I don't know about Scotty, you tell me. And the rest of some of y'all who are from Europe. I don't think y'all have 1 to 2 day shipping with Amazon. Yeah, I do. If I order something from Amazon, it's on my doorstep like either the next day or the day after that. So people are more used to that with Amazon, but again, Amazon is like half of all e-commerce. People are still willing to wait a little bit longer than 2 days with Amazon. Would you suggest starting from US or Europe, given the unrest situation in the US? That's a good question. Scotty, what do you think about that? I feel like you probably have a better
100% US. 100% US. Nobody buys like Americans. They get 2 weeks vacation, their jobs suck, and they're depressed, so they buy stuff to feel better. Europeans are happier, so they don't buy as much.
Damn, that just kind of made me like that hurt my feelings a little bit. But
Yeah, I want to buy something now.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. People in the US, it's extremely consumerist culture, extremely. I think it's one of the things that makes the US extremely beautiful, but it's also kind of a gross thing. But that aside, we're on the seller side, so you want to sell where people where there's the most buyers, and I think that there's probably the most buyers in the US. So yeah, I would agree with that, Scotty. I was just interested to see your take on that because it seems like there's less unrest in Europe, but I really don't think, like, with everything that's going on with all the protests and everything, I don't think that's affecting buying behavior that much, because most of the country, aside from the big cities, most of the country, like, it's pretty much business as usual. Like, yeah, there's like 30 people walking down the street protesting in the afternoon, and then that's like it. And most people are just like it's not even a part of their thought process. So I don't think that it's the current unrest is that big of a deal. And then what countries in Europe is it worth targeting for English speakers? I mean, I would say like probably all of them. I'm trying to think of any specific countries where I've had issues. The thing with shipping,
Serbia. I mean, it's not even as much English speakers because the traffic to those countries is so much cheaper that even if they don't understand every word, like, the problem is not who speaks English. The problem is, can you get product there, and do people there have money to be buying products? And the second question, you'd be surprised. I mean, obviously, even in like third world countries, there's rich people who spend money on stuff online, but the biggest problem is shipping. So that's why you want to exclude a bunch of countries like Serbia is really hard to get product shipped to. There's a whole long list of them, and I can try and find the list after this call. I've posted it before. But basically, if you're getting started, the answer is target US only. Unrest aside, like with or without the unrest, targeting US only is going to be best because Americans buy a lot. You're getting rid of the country variable. It's like when you're starting off testing something, everything is new, like stores new, products new, angles new, ads are new, everything is untested. And if you can cut out that variable of the country, then that's going to make things easier. Whereas if you go target European countries, none of the countries are big enough that you would only target one of them. So you're going to target a bunch of different European countries, and you're going to start trying to find, you're going to try and figure out which countries are working and which aren't. And you're going to try and do that with very little data, and you're going to make wrong decisions. You're going to make assumptions based on like 3-4 sales that are just not correct. So it's best to just get rid of that country variable to start, test US only. US only is proven to work. Selling to Europe or selling worldwide can improve results dramatically, but it doesn't always. Selling to the US always works. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It tends to be, I don't want to say it's necessarily like harder, but like if you get something working in the US, then there's like a 99% chance that it'll work when you start targeting other countries. I don't think the reverse is true quite as much.
Yeah, the thing is, if what you're doing isn't working, if you come to me and what you're doing isn't working, you're targeting US only, then I'm going to tell you what to change. I'm going to tell you change the product, change the angle, change the content, change your copy, whatever. We're going to try and fix the marketing problems. If you come to me saying you're targeting 4 countries in Europe or all of Europe or whatever, and it's not working, the first thing I'm going to say is get rid of Europe and target US. So all that testing you did with Europe, if you come to me with that data, I'm going to say, I don't know if it's because of the country or because of something else you're doing. Go target the US and then report back.
Too long didn't read. Target the US only to start. I think, I mean, Scotty, like with our stuff, I'm not even doing, I guess you probably do a little bit of international stuff. I don't think I'm doing anything international right now.
I stopped because of COVID.
Yeah.
Really? You guys haven't started back up after things are getting back to normal?
I would have done, but we're kind of short on inventory and US is going great. So what's the point? Like when you ship international from the US, I'm saying, like we have inventory in the US, we can get 3 to 5 day shipping that just gets there on time, fast, customers love it. If we go international, it becomes a shit show again of like, I need to keep track of every single country. What are the postage problems? Like, can we ship there right now? Do they have a COVID outbreak? It just becomes a lot more to deal with. And if you're only at break even in the US and going worldwide makes you profitable, then that's worth it. If you're already doing great in the US, I would just focus on improving what you're doing in the US rather than trying to add international. If you can. Problem is if you go international and you're profitable internationally, it's hard to go back because you may not be profitable with US only. So it's hard to go back once you make the switch.
Who asked that question, Scotty?
Which one?
The US versus Europe.
That was from Andre, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Andre, does that make sense, bro?
Sweet.
Cool. All right. And then Alex put in here, I'm new to Facebook ads. Doesn't matter if I'm running different stores in the same pixel. For example, testing an outdoor store and a tech store. Most of the time I would tell you that stop worrying about your pixel, but in this case, you absolutely should not run multiple different stores on the same pixel. The pixel is the way that Facebook basically transfers the data from your store to Facebook so that it knows who to target and who to show your ads to. And if you feed it data from your outdoor store and a tech store, then you're going to have conflicting data. It's not going to know who to show your ads to. So you always want to have one pixel for each store, one pixel. And yeah, and that's it.
Also on a more technical level, or a less technical level rather, if you're asking this question, then you're obviously a beginner and you probably shouldn't be running 2 stores in completely different niches.
That's probably true.
Like get one of those working. You don't need to be working on both at the same time. Pour all your energy into one of them. Get that working, figure out what the problems are, scale it up, and then if you still want to start the second store, do that then. Or if the first one doesn't work well and you decide let's try something completely different, switch to the second store then. Trying to like split your focus when you're just getting started generally doesn't work quite as well.
Yeah.
I had no problem when I started. It's not worth it.
All right, so great, thank you. Cool. All right.
We,
Do we have more
I
questions? Like, I
think
can't
that
even
was
find-
all the questions.
I have a quick question about the Facebook pixel that you guys just touched on.
Yeah.
To get like two different Facebook pixels, does that mean like you need to create like one separate account for this pixel and another account for the other pixel?
What do you mean when you say account?
Like a Facebook account, like to get a new ads manager?
No. So your pixel is hosted on your business manager. So the way it's structured with Facebook for any of you guys who are kind of new to this, business manager is like the highest level. There's like kind of like different levels of Facebook. So you have like business manager. Well, I guess actually the highest level is technically like your personal Facebook account. The personal Facebook account, you need that to create a business manager. You go on Facebook and then you go to business.facebook.com and then you click create account, and that's how you create a business manager. The business manager is where your pixels are hosted, and you can have multiple pixels on a business manager. In your business manager, you can have multiple different ad accounts. You can have multiple different pages. That's where you make the page, ad accounts, pixels, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So on each business manager, you can have multiple different pixels, but you want to have one pixel per ad account. Or when on and say if you have an ad account, if you're running ads on an ad account, then you should be having one pixel on that ad account. That's what you should be using for that one store. But you don't have to create a separate separate Facebook account or a separate business manager. You just need to have a different. I mean, you don't even necessarily need a separate ad account. Say if you were running one store and then you had one pixel for that store and then it didn't really work, so now you're moving on to a new store. You can still use that same ad account. I'd say it's probably not ideal. I'd probably want to use a different ad account. You can use the same ad account, but you want to make sure that you change the pixel. So one pixel for each store, right? Yeah. Yep, one pixel for each store.
Okay. So you can have multiple ad accounts under like one whole like Facebook account, right? Is that
Yep.
what you were saying? Okay, cool.
So
Maybe not to start.
yeah, maybe not
But
to start.
once you have some history, you can create extra ones.
Okay.
If you go to business settings in your business manager and then scroll down on the left to business info, it'll tell you what your ad account creation limit is. So when you first make it, it'll most likely be 1. But as you get more spend on it and over time, then it should increase to 3 or 5. And I recommend that as soon as you guys have the opportunity to create more ad accounts, do so. Even if you're not going to use them right away, create those ad accounts, because once you get one ad account disabled on a business manager, Facebook will not let you create new ad accounts. So if you create the ad accounts beforehand, then you have those and you don't have to worry about it.
Although slight caveat there, you can get an ad account suspended or disabled because you haven't used it. So if you create those ad accounts and don't use them for a long time, you can get those disabled, at which point you kind of messed up. So
Screw it if you do, screw it if you don't. That's kind of the game with Facebook.
create 1 or 2 maybe. Don't go and create 5 just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I think I usually create like 2 or 3 as soon as I can.
Yeah.
But I can't say I've ever had an ad account disabled because of it not being used on a business manager that I was actually using. That's happened on accounts that like I just hadn't looked at for months and months and wasn't using at all. But I think it takes kind of
we had that happen.
How many
Are
business
both-
managers do y'all have?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You can go.
Oh, I was just gonna ask: are both of you guys still using like your personal Facebook accounts to run ads, or no?
No.
Okay.
Business
I
manager.
was up until like a month ago or so, and then I got hit with your personal Facebook account is banned for life from advertising on Facebook. Appealed it twice, they said no, and so now unfortunately I can't.
I think he's not asking about personal account. He's asking whether we're using the personal ad account. Is that right?
No, because like currently, like I'm like using like my personal Facebook account where like all my friends are on there and shit for to run ads. Like my bad accounts are under that Facebook account. That's what I was just wondering.
That's fine. That's what I use.
Oh, okay.
I mean, other than the fact that I don't really have friends on my Facebook, but it's my main Facebook account. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the way it should be. You want to use an account that is actually being used and is not just an empty profile for running Facebook ads.
Got
Yeah,
it.
don't try to do that. Don't try to create a new Facebook account. We were just talking about that. Don't try to create a new Facebook account, like a second Facebook account. because Facebook will know. Facebook knows, man. They got all the fucking data. They know when you try to make a second account to run ads from, and they'll just fucking ban you.
Okay.
And also,
cool.
it's not going to show anywhere on your personal account.
Right.
Like, it's not like the stuff from your pages is going to post there. The only thing that's kind of annoying is you get a bunch of notifications.
Right.
So if you actually use Facebook personally, for like personal life stuff, you might want to go into the page settings and turn off notifications so that your personal notifications aren't just filled with Karen left a comment and etc.
Cool.
Karen.
But yeah, how many business managers y'all have? Or been through, I guess.
How many have I been through?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, bro.
I think just 2 for me. I've still
I
got my original 2.
I feel like you've gotten lucky, bro. I've probably gone through, I mean, shit, just in the last like year, I've probably gone through like 5.
I don't like you.
Yeah, no, they really don't.
Thing
I've
is,
gone
when
through-
you have a lot of history on it, you get better service.
Yeah.
So because I've been running both those for a long time and they've got a decent amount to spend on them, they're
Yeah, and
less
that's why
likely
it's
to
good to
shut down
have,
too.
that's why it's good to have friends and people that will use their Facebook accounts to run ads, because that's the only way. Like, especially if you're running anything that's like any what controversial or any what could even remotely slightly go against any single Facebook policy, the chances that you get banned, I mean, if you're running Facebook ads, the chances that you get banned are like 100%. Now, the chances that you get banned and can't get your account back at all, definitely lower. But I mean, the only solution in my eyes is literally just have access to multiple different Facebook accounts so that you can have access to multiple different business managers. And that way you just kind of diversify that out. And when one thing gets banned, then it's not the end of the world. Cause that's just the worst, man. Something that I know that like I used to do a lot, and I know that a lot of people do this, especially when you're first getting started, is whenever you get a Facebook ad ban, like it affects you emotionally, and you get, you get kind of like frustrated and you kind of freak out a little bit because you're not really sure how big of a deal it is. Don't do that. It's just like anything else. Like it's basically the same thing as if a customer asks you for a refund. Are you gonna freak out if a customer asks you for a refund? I mean, I hope not. What are you gonna do? You're gonna give them a refund. What do you do in this case? Well, you gotta get another account. And that's really the only way. And I think the less time you spend kind of like worrying about it and the more time you just spend getting more accounts and running more ads, the better.
Moving
Okay,
to Snapchat, Pinterest, Google, or whatever is not a solution. Like
I
those
have a-
platforms, if you want to like spend your life trying to learn those platforms, those work too, I guess. Facebook is king, and like just switching platforms because you got an ad account banned, it's like work through that rather than just trying to run away from it.
And you can make an ebook. And you can
I
sell
have-
a course on Snapchat.
Yeah, Ted, what were you saying, bro?
All right, so I have a question. So should you just do 2 admins accounts under the business manager and then put 2 pixels on each website?
What do you
Or
mean?
so I was like all right, so I learned this in a webinar, or I heard this in a webinar, that they said that you should have 2 accounts, 2 like accounts for like the admin accounts, and then you should put 2 pixels on each website in case one of them gets banned, you can still use the other one. Do you know anything about that?
I mean, you definitely don't want to have more than 1 pixel on your website. I don't even think you can do that. I mean, there's definitely not an easy way to do that in Shopify. You can only have 1. You only want to have 1 pixel at a time. I think what they might have been referring to is having 1 dedicated business manager to host your pixels on. Because what you can do is you can make a pixel on 1 business manager, and then you can share it to another business manager, and then you can run
Okay.
ads from that business manager. And then that way, if the business manager running ads on gets banned, your pixel still stays safe.
Okay, that's yeah.
I think that might have been what they're referring to. I haven't really done that a whole lot. I think it could be useful, but to be honest with you, like I really don't put a whole lot of stock in the pixel. If you have an offer that converts, if you have good marketing, then with or without data, it's going to convert. So I don't really worry about that too much, but I think that definitely could make sense. I don't think I have like I don't have a huge surplus of accounts to do that with. I feel like I just run an ad and then shit gets banned and then move on to the next one.
Okay.
So I have multiple ad accounts under the same business manager. Yep. traffic plus offer, baby. 100% right.
Andre, definitely want to appeal that. I mean, whatever you're running that gets disabled, you always want to appeal it. Because I feel like Nasty Little Secret might get flagged, but also could get overturned if you just appeal it. When a human being looks at it, they might say like, okay, this is allowed. This is fine.
Yeah, this is the text I use. I'm going to put this in the chat for y'all. This is the text I use when I'm appealing an account. Like, I believe my ad account or business manager or whatever, insert, I believe my ad account was incorrectly, oh my God, I can't type, disabled state things. That's usually, that's like the general, templated message that I send, when I request review. I believe my ad account, or I believe my business manager, I believe my personal advertising access, whatever, I believe it was incorrectly disabled. Please review and reinstate ASAP. Thanks. And that works, I would say, like 70 to 80% of the time. Sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time it does. And yeah, you got to be, Andre, like it's such BS that, Facebook banned you for saying that, because that's, as far as I can tell, not against any of their policy. Facebook's just ridiculous these days. Like, you literally can't run ads on Facebook that you can run on billboards. Like, half the billboard ads I see on the highway would literally be against Facebook policy, which is obviously ridiculous because, the standards for a billboard ad are pretty high, considering that kids are literally going to be seeing them constantly. But that's just the way it is, man. It's not something we really have control over unless one of us can manage to befriend Mr. Zuckerberg and persuade him to change their policy. I think we're kind of stuck operating within the confines of their platform, and they can ultimately decide what they want to do. And it's up to us to adapt. Don't you have to have a business ID to add ad accounts? I don't know what you mean by that, Grant.
I think I know what he means. Grant, I think you may have pressed on the wrong button. So if you want to add a business account, or if you want to add an ad account from a different business manager, you'd have to enter the business ID. Whereas if you want to create a new ad account that doesn't exist yet, you should not need the business ID. I think you may have pressed the wrong button there.
Yeah, I probably just did it wrong then. Because whenever I tried to create a new ad account, it asked me for a business ID, and so I was just like hella confused.
Yeah, no, I think you must have pressed add an ad account instead of create it, or it's two different settings.
Okay.
It should just be a different button right next to it.
Okay, and then also, since I'm talking right now, so I think I've found something that works. What I need to focus on right now is a better video ad and a better landing page. But like, I'm not like the best at creating a video or make it look super appealing. I'm not the best at creating a really nice landing page. How do I go? No, I'm just being like real. Like, I mean, I'm not like educated on that. And so like, I don't know, like, should I like go to someone who knows how to do that, or like I'm not sure. I'm kind of like confused on what to do about that.
I mean, first off, I would say that, like, I mean, I don't think you're necessarily wrong by saying that you need a better video ad and a better product page. But what makes you say that? Like, you say that you don't even know, you're not very educated on that. So how do you know for sure that that's even what you need? That's the first thing. The second thing is, the entire point of you doing this is basically to learn it as you go. You have to learn this stuff. If you say that you're not educated on it, well, then how do you expect to succeed? You have to educate yourself on it. You have to try it, and you have to do it. And you have to, I mean, there's a video on my YouTube about how to make a good product page. If you haven't watched that, you should probably watch that. And there's also information in the program. Learn about this stuff. And ultimately, the real way that you get educated on it, that there's the only real way is to do it, is to make a product page, make a new product page, make a new video ad, and test it and see the results. And, you see what works and what doesn't, and slowly, by doing multiple iterations and seeing the results, you get better at it. And ultimately, that's what you have to do. There's not really any way around that, because what you're really trying to do is just get better at the skill of e-commerce. And the only way to do that is to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's anything, like I know in the position you're in, Grant, it probably feels like it's like things are just like confusing right now, and you don't really know, like, you don't know what you don't know, basically. And I understand like the position you're coming from, but the harsh answer is just you got to do shit, you got to test it, and that's really how you learn. But there's also resources that you can use, in the program online. I would definitely watch those YouTube videos if you haven't. That one that I did about the product page, and then also the video that's titled, I think it's like, this ad did 200K in a month or something along those lines.
I think I watched that one.
Yeah, I talk a lot in that video about how to make a good video ad. But back to your original, assumption that you need a better video ad and a better product page, that might not be the case. I'd say for a lot of you guys, that stuff is like, yeah, could that improve your results? Absolutely. But for most of you guys, you just need a better offer. I wrote an email about this, and I don't know, some of you guys might be on that list. If you're not, you probably should be. I wrote an email about that a couple of days ago, and multiple people have replied back to me and said, yo, I took this advice, and literally the advice was sell a better offer. That was the advice in all caps. I put it 3 times. Multiple people replied back and said that, dude, my results are way better now. Like, I was unprofitable and now I'm profitable. My conversion rate's gone up by at least, a whole percentage point.
When did you send that email?
Just by changing the offer. Look at what you're selling, bro. Like, this is something that I think like is so simple that people don't really think about it. What are you selling? What is your offer? What is the price point? What's the discount? What's the guarantee? Not just like what's the product, but how are you selling it? And then look at that and be like, how can I make this better? How can I make this seem more irresistible? And just kind of like, there's not like a specific, like step-by-step process for that. It's like, use your head, put yourself in the position of someone who's in your market and be like, how would I like to buy this? What would I see that would just make me think, holy hell, this is a fucking great deal. I have to buy this right now. And if you take a little bit of time to do that and just improve your offer, that might be the thing that, propels you to better results. That's been, your offer is probably the biggest thing that you can change. That's probably the biggest tweak you can make. The offer, the angle, those are some of the biggest things. And if you just improve your offer and more people convert on it, then it doesn't really even matter what you do with your product page, because just because the offer's better, more people are going to buy. So I would definitely take a look at that and try to do that. But for video ads and for your product page, I think you probably know what to do, bro. You just don't feel like you're perfect at it yet, because you're not. Neither.
Well, the reason I say better video ads is because the video that I sent the video to somebody to edit like text on it, but the video has been being used like for years. Like it's like 90s type of stuff, and I just want like different content, because I feel like everybody trying to sell this product is using that like same video, and so I wanted something that was different and not the same that everybody else was using.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
The other thing you need to realize, and something that I think everyone needs to sort of think about, you might not be the best at video ads or product page or whatever, and like Nate said, you have to figure that out. And the reason you have to figure that out is because, despite what they may tell you, the people who you could outsource to on Fiverr, Upwork, wherever, are also not that good. And the problem is, your options are outsource to somebody who's shit, do it yourself, and get from where you are right now, which might not be very good, but get to where you can actually do it well. Because the only way you're going to make any serious money is if you learn to do this well. If you outsource to Fiverr, you're going to get often shit results, and you're not going to learn the skill. So kind of the worst of both worlds there.
Okay.
And I would say
in order to outsource something, you have to be good at it. You have to have an understanding of it first.
Okay.
And I would say another assumption that might be wrong is that you need a better video ad. To me, I don't think of things in terms of, do I need a photo ad or a video ad? Like, obviously those two things matter in context of each other. But dude, you won't believe how many times I thought that a video ad was the only way to sell a product. And then as soon as I started running picture ads, just super basic picture ads, they started doing better than the videos. You don't need a video ad. Does it make more sense for some things? Absolutely.
But I feel like it makes more sense because I'm doing fitness products. And so I feel like it just makes more sense
Dude, that's what I thought
when-
too. I mean, dude, I was selling a product for foot pain, and I thought that would, I thought that a video was the best way to communicate that, and then tried photos, and I never even thought to try photos. I never even thought about it, and then just one day tested photos. They've done way better, and now I almost only run photos. Have you run any photo ads yet?
No, I haven't. Well, it's because it's resistant bands, and so I felt like people using the product would be better. But yeah, I mean, I'll test out photos
Yeah, man.
because that's not what I initially thought. Because when I first found the product, there's video ads for it. I don't even think I've seen a picture ad for it, and so
And I think that that's probably because a video ad does make more sense for that product, but that doesn't mean that a photo ad can't work.
Yeah.
With photo ads is they're so much easier to make. They're so much easier. You can make them so much quicker, so much easier. It just requires a lot less work, and it allows you to test more stuff more quickly.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend doing that. I think you should probably, I don't think it's a bad idea to test a new video ad as well. But any of you guys who are like only running video ads, you know that you don't have to do that. You can run photo ads. And I mean, I would say of all the ad spend that I've put on Facebook, all the, from all the however much return I've gotten back from that, I would say probably like 70% of that has been photo ads. So keep that in mind. Video ads are not the end all be all. A good video ad is, it's absolutely an asset, but so is a good photo ad. And a good photo ad is easier to make than a good video ad.
Okay.
Shit, I need
All
to
right.
try
Thank you,
some photo
Nate.
ads.
Thank you, Scotty.
You got it. Yes, did I finally get him? Dude, there's this fruit fly that's been flying around. I don't think I got it. Okay. Alex said I go on Drop Point to see the video ads that are doing really well on Facebook, and usually they don't look like a movie with $1 billion budget. Yeah. I would say, I mean, my experience, most of the video ads that work well, a lot of the time it's like very basic user generated content, or UGC. Just shit that looks real. Like, it's just so funny. Like you'll go and you'll get like, you'll pay someone professional to do a video ad for you. And then you'll start running it, and then it does shit. And then you take a 5-second iPhone video literally with your phone, and then that does better. Yeah, the amount you spend on a video ad does not equal how good it is by any means. Okay, so I think that's all the questions that we've gotten so far. At this point, y'all, if you have a question, which I would like for all of you guys to ask a question if you have any. Don't ever feel bad about asking a question. This is literally what it's here for. So if you guys have any questions, anything at all, even if you think it's stupid, if I think it's stupid, I'll roast your ass, but I'll answer your question. So from here on out, we'll answer the questions that you guys come in. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question, verbally, or you can just drop in the chat if you prefer to do that.
I have a question about the Pixel. So I've been like, the Pixel just loses some purchases every day. Do you know, like, how can you check it or whatever? And why does it do that?
I mean, that's pretty normal for, like, are you talking about like your ad account just doesn't report all the purchases that you get?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty normal. I've been seeing some really crazy stuff with an ad account, like not even reporting any purchases when it was getting like 10 plus a day. I don't really know if there's a fix for that, to be honest with you. I think you got to make sure you obviously, like, first things first, you want to make sure that your Pixel is on your site and working properly, and you can download the Facebook Pixel Helper Google Chrome extension for that. But aside from that, I mean, Scotty, do you know any ways to fix that? Because I really don't. I think that's just kind of something you live with.
It's just like music. Sorry. Oh.
There's not really a fix. It's generally like 10 to 20% of sales are missed. And if Rode, you're selling a product that is more expensive, then it's just going to be more noticeable because you don't get that high of a volume of sales. So if one sale is missed or 2 sales are missed in a day, that's a huge deal. In terms of technical setup, you want to check that the pixel's on the site, like Nate said, but I doubt that's the issue. The other thing you can check is go into each ad set and make sure that the pixel is, actually, I guess that would be at the ad level. So at the ad set level, make sure you're optimizing for purchase or whatever. And at the ad level, make sure that your pixel is on. Sometimes when you duplicate, your pixel gets turned off for some reason. So at the ad level, I think it's right at the bottom if you scroll down, you should see the name of your pixel there. And if it's not there, then the pixel might be off for that ad.
Yeah.
Again, I doubt it's that. It's probably just the some sales Facebook misses. That's just normal, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just like confusing because obviously, like, I don't know if something is working, like properly or not at this point.
It's tough. What you kind of have to do is you do a daily profit and loss sheet, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to judge it based on total results, and then like, is an ad set working or not? You have to judge over a longer period, 3, 4, 5 days, and just judge the overall picture by daily P&L. And if you're losing money 2, 3 days in a row, shut stuff off. But if overall it's profitable and you're just not sure which ad sets are getting the sales because some aren't tracking, then you just have to let it run longer. As long as you're overall profitable, you can afford to do that, if that makes sense. So again, like an ad set that's at break even, if it got 2 sales and it's at break even, if it had a third sale that wasn't tracked, that's a big deal. So like with those small numbers and a higher price product, you just kind of have to let it run longer as long as overall the picture's decent.
Yeah, I mainly like see if like there are enough two parts or to check out as well. And if something is missing, I usually leave it. Even if it's like if I don't see any purchase on it.
Yeah, I mean you can do that, but it's kind of risky because sometimes you do get ad sets that get a lot of add to carts and initiate checkouts, but they don't get the purchases, even when everything tracks well. So like to an extent you can do that, but you still want to cut ads off if they don't get any sales whatsoever. You just give it like an extra day or two, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Gotcha. From the comment section, Brian's heading off. Harris wants to learn Facebook ads. Harris, you have to get a bit more specific with what you want to learn, because learning like nobody can teach you Facebook ads. People can tell you what's wrong with what you're doing. People can answer specific questions, but nobody can explain Facebook ads to you. That would take 6 months, a year. Like you have to be like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. These results I'm getting. Maybe this is the problem. Scotty, what do you think? Scotty, I think my ad's the problem. Here are my results. Do you agree that the ad's the problem? Then I'll get back to you and say, based on those metrics, probably think you need to change the ad or whatever. Like teaching Facebook ads as a skill is way too complex to just teach it from the ground up. If you come to us with specific questions, I'm sure there's a bunch of people in here. I can help, Nate can help, Colin, who was on the call before, actually still is on the call, he can help, Jason can help. Like there's so many people that can help, but without specific questions, it's really hard. Some days with sales, some days without sales, that's fluctuation. That's what I tried to explain to you the other day. Like when you're getting between 0 and 5 sales a day, there's gonna be bigger fluctuations. Like even when you're making 1K, 2K a day sales, there's always like that bandwidth. Like on a good day, we'll make 2.5K sales on a store. On a bad day, we'll only make 1.8K. That's a huge difference. Like that's, what is that? Like 30-40% difference. Yeah, probably like a 30% difference in sales. And when you're only getting like between 0 and 5 sales, those fluctuations are just going to be magnified. Because a bad day is 0 sales, and a good day is 2 or 3 sales. You just have to average it out. How many sales are you getting over the span of 5 days compared to what you're spending on ads? Is it profitable or not over 5 days or over a week? Why does one ad get more than the other? That's because Facebook decides for you based on their machine learning algorithm which ad it thinks is better. So you set the budget at the ad level and are at the ad set level, and Facebook decides where to allocate that spend between the ads. Now, what often happens when you have an old ad plus a new ad, the old ad will already have some comments on it and stuff. So even if the ad isn't doing great, and even if your new ad is technically better, Facebook prefers the old ad. Their algorithm will give more spend to the old ad. When that happens, what you can do is just don't run old and new ad in the same ad set. Put the new ad that you're testing in a separate ad set. So if you only have one ad in an ad set, then Facebook it's just forced to spend the entire ad set budget on that one ad, and then you'll know whether the ad is good or not. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. Yeah, bro, I got you. Nick, how long do you let ad sets run where performance seems to be falling? Like over past 7 days, ROX is 3x, but over last 3 days, no sales. Now that is a good question. That's where things start to get a little hairy because it can be tough, man. It can be tough, and I would say that it's not really like there's not a certain number of days. If after 3 days it's gotten no sales, but over the past 7 days the ROAS was 3x total, then that means that the ROAS of those 4 days was probably the fucking super good. If I had seen something like that, first off, I would go back in my log that I would meticulously keep, and I would check to see if I made any changes to the website or to my ads or anything that would have caused those results to tank. But barring that, if I hadn't made any changes and it was still like that, I would probably let it run, I don't know, for another 2 days or so. And then if the results were still shit, then I'd probably turn them off. And then honestly, I might just relaunch them exactly as they were, just duplicate them and relaunch them as new ad sets and see how that works. But I don't think there's not like a set number of days. And that's why it's like kind of tough to teach the, this part of Facebook ads because it's so situationally dependent. And it's just a matter of you basically being able to develop the skill and like the intuition of knowing when to keep things running and when to turn things off. Because me and Scotty, I mean, we can give you general rules and guidelines, but for your specific situation, like there's so many different variables that go into it. So, I mean, short answer, it depends, but long answer, well, yeah, that was the long answer.
I'd say after 3 days. Very simple answer. If it's break even or worse for the past 3 full days. So if you're looking at ads at 8 in the morning, don't take today, or take today plus the past 3 days. 3 full days, if it's break even or worse, I shut it off. Now, in your situation, what is different to when I'm running ads on an existing store, it's a new store. So it's a new store, a couple great days, and then a couple shit days. It's super hard to tell. Whereas if you've been running it for a long time, you get good performance for a while and then bad performance. You pretty much know that if you turn it off and relaunch, it's going to be good again. On a new store, it's super tough. But either way, like 3 full days is kind of my cutoff point. So like if it's break even or worse for 3 full days, I would shut it off. Especially if you were super profitable at first. It can probably be super profitable again.
Okay. Nick, does that make sense, bro? I'm not sure which Nick that was. It's one of the Nicks. Nick says, yep. Okay, cool. Then Andre said, you guys use Afterpay. The service lets you sell in installments. Does it bring much difference? I have personally never used Afterpay. I would imagine that it would probably bring you an increase in conversion rate and also an increase in terrible low quality customers and just overall hassles.
It's a little boost in conversion rate. I use it on one of my stores. It works pretty well. I was kind of surprised how many people take it because it's like for a $50 product. But if you're just getting started, it's not the thing to be testing. It's not a huge lever. But if you're doing 10K a month revenue or whatever and you want to try that, absolutely go for it. It's a good idea.
Elijah says, with the homework, I made 3 different angles, and for the setting up the campaign video, there's no testing of any of the angles. Should I just choose the one I think is best?
Yep.
I don't even understand the question.
So like in the program, we've got a section about coming up with ad angles and writing the ads. But then when you're testing, we don't want you to test 3 ads right off the bat. Just pick one that you think is best. And in your case, actually, I would come up with a new ad and go with the jump higher angle, like we were talking about earlier today or yesterday, probably your time. I would probably go straight for a jump higher angle. Yeah. So just start with one ad. That's a big thing, because just the more variables you add to the initial testing campaign, the harder it's going to be to make any sort of decision from that. So I'd write one ad, either one of the ones you've already got, or an ad with the jump higher angle, and then I test that.
All those ads are solid though. I really liked all of them.
Yeah, I think the ads are solid too. I just don't like the fact that he has a product name that is very specific to jumping higher.
Yeah.
But then the ad copy is kind of like, has a bunch of general athletic benefits and stuff. And the ad video too is like, it starts off all about jumping and then it goes to like agility drills and stuff. So just like the congruency there is a bit off.
Dude, I
Very well
love
written.
the hook on that video ad. The hook on that video ad is so killer, like the thumbnail and just the first couple seconds, because like it doesn't look like an ad. You look like you're about to see some dude like I mean, it's basically like a fail, right? That's like super native to Facebook. I feel like that'll work real well.
Hey, when we're starting out, how many creatives should we have for the one product?
Day one, I would do 1, maximum 2, but then over time, 1 million.
Okay.
So at any one time in an ad set, if you're testing, 1, max 2. If they're proven ads that have worked and you're trying to scale up and you're spending higher budgets, you can do 3, sometimes 4. But yeah, I mean, you want to test a shit ton of ads over time, but at any given time, limit it to 1 or 2.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever, there's very rarely any points where I have more than 2 ads in an ad set. I mean, if it's super high budget, maybe 3. But I don't think I've ever done 4 in an ad set. That's just a lot. All right, Harris said, with lookalikes, do I have to repopulate them after, let's say, 30 days? I don't know why this question, we've been getting this question so much recently. From my understanding, if you make your lookalikes with website activity in Facebook instead of from custom audience, or instead of from like your customer export from Shopify, then no, I do not believe you have to repopulate them. It should automatically update. That's our understanding, but we're not like 100% sure about that, but like 98% sure. Practically speaking, I mean, I never go and try to repopulate my lookalike audiences, so.
It automatically updates. I've seen my audience evolve over time, and I haven't touched it. And I pretty much only use view content lookalikes now, so you don't have to touch
I think
it.
our friend, Mr. Ads Alchemist, wrote in his course that you have to update them, and that creates mass confusion. I don't know what he's thinking about, but I don't know if it's a misunderstanding or if something's changed, but you do not need to update your lookalikes created from the pixel.
I think I DM'd him about that, and he said, yeah, I DM'd him. I think he said that they update themselves.
Well, there you have it.
Mr. Fucking
probably
Adams,
update that.
What a silly goofball. Okay. Nick said, LOL, I usually test 4 ad creatives. In one ad set, bro, that's way too much.
Hey, maybe I should talk about something here.
What's up, Nick?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is a little bit different from others, I believe, because like I I'm doing like print on demand. You know that I was like into one of the builds about selling T-shirts for programmers, and I'm actually like trying to find a better way to make the offer like more attractive to people, because like I think a lot of people interacted in my app, but like no sales. So I was thinking maybe like print on demand is like about like design. You have to test different designs, and so yeah. Do you think it's like about like the designs, the offers, and doing more research about that, and testing different products or different designs would be a good idea.
Well, I'm confused. What's your question?
So it's like, should I like, do more research on designs, and so I can test like with different designs. That would be better than focusing on like one design, because I just think like print on demand is like they will have to love your design in order to buy.
Right.
So
I mean, I would treat it like probably just like anything else, man. I mean, you test a design, and you can probably do it like a little bit more quickly than you would with just a regular product. The thing is, and this is kind of why I was kind of like, I'm kind of the mindset that I think that print on demand, like, can it work? Definitely. I think as a beginner, it's definitely harder. Because you're adding another variable into it. You're not only adding the fact that this market has to want this kind of product, but you're also adding the fact that they have to want your specific design that you come up with, and that's tough. That's a lot more work, and it's going to require a lot more testing most likely. But if you are going to do that, then I would say that treat it like you would normally, except maybe if you run one design, maybe you don't run it for 2 or 3 weeks trying to make a whole bunch of tweaks to it to make it work. Maybe you only run it for a week or two, and you only run a few tests on it, or like 1 or 2 or 3 tests instead of running a bunch of different ones.
do you think like it's a good idea to have like a carousel ad, and then and put like different designs on there, or you think we should focus on one at a time?
I don't think that's probably not what I would do. What I would probably do in your situation, bro, is I would try to find one design that people just fucking loved, and then just focus all my energy on that. Because the chances that, like, if you have multiple different designs, how it almost always works with anything, no matter what you're selling, is you're going to have one product that is doing 80 to 90% of the volume. That's the reason people really come to your store. That's what they want to buy, and that's what they end up buying. So I think that, the effort, it shouldn't be so much on trying to sell a bunch of different designs. And I see where you're going with that, because I think that I think the lines you're thinking along is like, well, if I run an ad, a carousel ad with multiple different designs, then maybe I'll be able to see which one people buy.
Yeah, that's the intention.
That would be that. That's an idea. I don't know if I would do. What do you think, Scotty? What would you do?
Definitely not. That's something you can do if you've got a store where I would probably do a carousel ad if I've got a successful store with a bunch of different designs and I want to retarget people who've already visited, or retarget people for a sale, or retarget people who've bought before. But if you're trying to convert cold traffic to buyers, you want to get one really good design and figure out how to make the best marketing for that. And anything that you're doing that takes away from one really good ad that leads to one really good product page for one really good product, anything that you add on that takes away from that is going to hurt more than it helps.
So yeah, like the way I think about that is like, if you have like more designs in the carousel ad, like people would probably more inclined to like one of the designs. But I think maybe the marketing angle will have to suffer, because like you can't focus on one thing strong enough or something like that.
Giving people more options does not make it more likely that they will convert.
Yeah, that's the opposite. Nick, I feel like we had this conversation 2 weeks ago, bro. I think have you launched ads?
I went back to the the drawing board, and I was trying to do more research and try to come up with designs and stuff. Basically, a lot of like research and stuff. So I actually have some designs, like 2 or 3 designs that I'm about to launch. But yeah, no, I didn't launch like additional ad. I had one test, and then now I think I'm trying to, make a new ad or like a new test. And so yeah, just trying to ask like, what is the strategy for that? And you guys, yeah, clearly saying that focusing on one design or one product would be a better idea. So yeah.
Just focus it, and that's not to say that you can only test one design ever. That's just saying only focus on one at a time. Only test one at a time.
Okay.
And like if you're gonna be making your own designs, like do everything you can to make sure that to try to make sure that you have to test as few designs as possible. Because the fewer that you have to test to find the winner, then the faster it's gonna happen. Overall, I mean, I don't like the overall strategy that you're doing. I wouldn't do that if I was in your position. I think that it's gonna be, you're making it harder than it has to be. I'm not gonna tell you that you shouldn't do it or that you have to do something else. But I do want to make it clear that I don't think that what you're doing is the best route. I think it can work, but I think you're making things harder on yourself than they have to be.
You mean like print on demand in general?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything where you're, I mean, maybe not overall in general, but like for the most part, yes. The fact that you're trying to create your own designs, that's a completely different aspect of the program. Completely. I mean, that adds so much more complexity to it. Again, it's another variable. You don't know whether that's going to work. What you're essentially trying to do in your position as a beginner is you're trying to eliminate as many variables that don't work as possible, so that you're only left with the variables that do work. The more variables that you don't know whether or not they work, you're just adding more complexity and you're making it harder. So if you sell a product that is already being bought, that people are already buying, then you cut down on that variable in the sense that you don't have to. You're not trying to figure out whether or not people will even buy it at all in the first place. Because some of your designs, I mean, I'm not sure you've come up with. I mean, maybe they're fucking dope and maybe fucking everyone will love them. But probably what's more likely is that no one's going to care. No one's going to like the designs. And you're going to spend all this time making these designs, and you're going to put a bunch of time and effort into it, and then it's no one's going to like it. Whereas someone who's doing it the way that we lay out in the program, their time and effort is going to be spent testing ads, testing products, testing creatives, testing angles, testing offers. They don't have that variable that you do. So,
Yeah, definitely got your point. Yeah.
100% what Nate said. I'm going to chime in here because I actually tried print on demand before I tried this, before I got into the program and tried this. I made an app in the App Store based on some trending meme that got 100,000 downloads, and I put a print on demand thing, like a link selling that for shirts. I got 15 sales. And everything that I've tried with print on demand past that has netted me not enough money for my time. If you really want to test it, look at Merch by Amazon. You can upload your designs for free on there. You don't have to do any ads or anything like that. It's already on Amazon. And if something like blows up there, then run ads for it on Facebook. But yeah, like Nate said, 100%. You're starting this on hard mode. And I will say that what I'm doing now, I'm not drop shipping anymore, but when I started off drop shipping my product that I'm doing now, 100 times easier to make money and be profitable.
And I mean, just in general, as much as possible for all you guys, this game is not about becoming the best. It's not about becoming the best marketer. It's not about getting super, super good at all things e-commerce. It's much better, in my opinion, instead of trying to focus on getting really good at all this really hard stuff, focus on making it so that you don't have to be good at it. If you sell to a market, for example, where there's almost zero competition, where you're one of the only people selling in that market, by default, you don't have to be good at all this stuff. If people want your product, you have a great offer, and you're one of the only people in that market selling it, then you're going to make way more money than the guy who's super, super good at all this stuff, but is competing with all these other people And basically the way I look at it is, as a beginner and really at any stage that you are in business, the things that move the needle are advantages that you have over other people. Like, you know, again, example, low competition. That is like probably the biggest advantage that you could get.
How did you get like low competition or
I mean,
like, you know, untouched market or
the way I
something?
look at it is either you either have to find something that is like very new that not a lot of people are selling yet, which is very hard, and the likelihood that you're able to do that as a drop shipper without actually creating a whole new product and manufacturing and designing and all that yourself. The only real way that I see to do that is just to get specific. Get specific in who you're targeting. Get specific in who your audience is and who you're marketing to. You know, it's very, very competitive to sell weight loss products, but it's not nearly as competitive if you sell something more specific related to, I don't know, you know, a weight loss product that is only for women, you know, age 50 to 70, and is specifically helps them lose weight because of a specific medical condition that a lot of 50 to 7-year-old women have or something like that. When you get specific like that, you cut down the market that you're competing against from all these other stores to a very small number of people. And you make your store feel like it's for your specific type of person who you're marketing to, and that makes them more likely to buy.
So like, so your audience size will be reduced like dramatically. Like, can you build long term on, you know, that size?
Don't think about it in terms of your audience size. Like when we say audience size, like, okay, for what I'm about to say, I mean this not in terms of what your audience size is on Facebook. I mean this in terms of your overall size of your market. There's actually something I was just writing about for a new product I'm working on. You have to understand that like our general tendency, right, is to think like, so if we niche down, if we get more specific, then there's less people to sell to, i.e. we're going to make less money, right? That's like kind of how humans normally intuitively think.
No, I don't think that way, but I don't think it that way, but my concern is like, you know, as you build like a long-term kind of brand, you know, you still need like a big enough of an audience.
So Nick, let me ask you this. How many people do you think you need in your market to build a long-term brand?
Millions?
Okay. So let's say 10 million, right?
Yeah, okay.
10 million. There are very few things that you could get so specific with that there aren't 10 million people that fall into that category. Like, like you could get so specific, like say you're selling, like this example, like if you only sold walking canes to Indian men who had half of their left leg cut off and they also happen to own 3 goats, that's too specific. There's not going to be enough people in that market to build a long-term business. But dude, very, very, very rarely will you ever get into a situation where your market is so specific that you can't make a really good living off of it long-term. Because if you put things into perspective of how large the world is and how many fucking people there are in this world, and even just in the US, there's 300 million people in the US. If you do the math on how many people you need to sell to make 6 figures profit per year, depending on your product price, it might be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people. That is a minuscule amount. Our brains do not comprehend the difference between 30,000 and 300 million. They're not even close, bro. It's like, it's such a small amount of people. You have so many people out there to potentially sell to. And there are basically, long story short, I've never seen a case where someone got so specific that their market was too small and they ran out of customers. That has never happened in the entire history of media and e-commerce, of working with people. Anything I've ever seen, anyone I've ever known, I've never seen that happen before. So to me, that's not even a concern. I don't think about, is that market too small? I don't think about that because our brains, we don't comprehend how large markets actually are and how many people there actually are to sell to and how few people it actually takes to make a really good living.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that helps a lot. I mean, like if you have like a few assets or like few interests, then each have like a few hundred of thousand people or like to 1 million people, that will be way enough.
Nick, I think your problem is you have too much knowledge and not enough experience. I think you've studied too much stuff and you're getting confused.
I'm right.
You're getting confused because you need to target big audiences on Facebook, meaning the interest size should not be small. But the way that you brand your product, the way that you position your product, your solution, your store, that needs to be specific. That's what Nate's talking about.
Oh, really?
Nate is talking about making your marketing, your positioning, your branding very specific to one group of people. But that is different to the actual interest on Facebook.
Oh, really? I didn't think of it that way.
So like simple example, say you're trying to sell a foam roller like an exercise product or whatever for pain relief. Super general, if you're the first person to ever sell a foam roller, pain relief angle probably worked. You target anyone with any sort of pain. Then that stops working. If you then want to break into that market, you could have success by targeting people with back pain or knee pain, etc. Now, that's also not going to work, probably, because people have seen the foam rollers before. People have seen foam rollers marketed towards knee pain. However, maybe you can find an audience that hasn't seen this product, market it specifically to them. Maybe you can market it to soccer players with knee pain. If you've ever played soccer, you know that every fucking soccer player, like out of a team of 20, like 10 of them will have knee pain. So that is a huge, huge market, but it's like 3 levels more specific than just targeting people with pain. You go from pain to knee pain to soccer players with knee pain. That's how you get more specific. Now on Facebook, the interest that you would use will be pain, knee pain, soccer. The interests are not specific. The interests can be super broad, but the way you position your store, the way you do all your marketing has to be very specific.
So I think like, you know, pain and your knee pain in soccer, it's pretty specific, right? Because you it's more specific than you know, all people with knee pain, right? But what you're trying to say is like, you don't have to be really super like specific in targeting, but like your marketing can be very specific.
Yeah.
Your
I
marketing
thought like
needs to be very specific, but your Facebook targeting does not need to be very specific.
But I thought like if your Facebook targeting is like laser focused, you will have like, you know, more people interested in caring about your product, and you would have like cheaper, you know, ad spend.
It would actually be the opposite, because how Facebook works is the more people that you give Facebook, basically the larger your audience, the more people Facebook has to optimize from, to show your ads to figure out who is the right person to show your ads to. So if you target the knee pain interest, if that's even an interest, Facebook's going to show your ads to a shit ton of people who have knee pain but are not soccer players, and your store and your offer does not resonate with them. Facebook's going to learn that very quickly, and then your audience size that you're targeting on Facebook might be 10 million, but it's only going to show your ads after it gets a certain amount of data, and once it kind of knows who to target, it's only going to show your ads to a small subsection of that audience that is likely to buy. So you want to keep your targeting on Facebook somewhat general. The general rule that I use for that is your audience size should be at least 1 million. You know, when you put it into Facebook, it says that little thing on the side. It says like audience size. Make sure that's at least 1 million. But when you have very specific and very compelling marketing that resonates with the type of person that you were trying to market to, that you're trying to sell to, Facebook will start to understand that, and then they'll only show your ads to those people who are most likely to buy. But if you start off very, very specific in your targeting, and you only give Facebook, say, 100,000 people to optimize from, they're not going to have enough data to be able to know who is the right person to show your ads to.
Yeah, that's kind of like new thing for me. I mean, yeah,
okay, well, I'm glad we clarified that, because that's a hugely important thing for all you guys. You need to be specific in your marketing, not specific in your Facebook targeting. And just generally speaking, like the stuff that you're kind of like asking about, Nick, it's kind of back to what Scotty said. It's like, it's indicative that you have a lot of knowledge, but not a lot of experience, because the stuff that you're asking about is like not really all that important. The way that you do your Facebook targeting, like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But what really matters is that you're able to identify a market of people who is hungry to buy something. You're able to put an offer in their face that is compelling. You're able to communicate it to them in a way that resonates, so that they're actually going to pay attention and buy. And that's really all that matters. The marketing, the actual principles of marketing and sales and, that kind of thing, that's what actually matters. That's the big things that move the needle. The little tactical stuff in Facebook, whether you duplicate an ad set, or whether you raise this budget or you lower that budget, or, put 2 ads in an ad set or 3 ads, like all that stuff is very, very small compared to the big stuff. And if you focus on all the small stuff, you know, as a beginner, you're very likely to get caught up in basically, you know, get caught up in the weeds is what Scott Adams says. Most people, they just get way too caught in the weeds, and you get focused on these little tactical things that no matter what, even if you get it 100% perfect, you get it super, super good, it's not going to have a big enough effect to get your overall results profitable. What really matters is, you know, offer, rating. These are the things that actually matter. And if you spend all your time focusing on those and basically like none of your time focusing on all the tactical stuff, you know, you're going to make progress way faster. You're going to make money way faster.
Nice. So in that, you know, specific, you know, example, you could get away with just like targeting the people with pains, but not like actually like soccer players, right?
I mean, you'd want to try both. You'd want to try.
I mean, like potentially
to
do that.
soccer players. You'd want to try interest related to only knee pain. You'd want to try, you know, you'd want to try different interests.
Yeah, I think the difference is like, you know, I was confused between the market and the targeting. I thought, you know, they have to be like the same, but looks like, you know, that the targeting can be broad and your market can be specific, and you can, you know, really try to make a good offer and angle for those people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, man, I saw like a lot of ads on, you know, people, you know, teaching you how to target Facebook. They say, you know, you have to do some kind of like layering,
it's bullshit.
interest layering.
It's all bullshit, dude. It's all bullshit.
You know, you layer like huge of interest into like 3 layers, and overlapping audience will be what you want to target and things like that.
Here's the Facebook ads targeting course. Ready? I'm gonna try to get it in like less than 2 sentences. Over 1 million people in the audience size, and just use your noggin to figure out what to target. It's not, you know, what makes sense, like what intuitively. Like so much of this is just intuitive. And I think that's what happens is when you get so in the weeds like this, you lose your intuition and you start thinking on these levels that are super complex. When if you just took a step back and you're like, you know, you're trying to figure out what interest to target, well, take a step back and be like, well, what am I selling? Like, what's the offer? Who's likely to buy this? A lot of people, like, you just don't have these fundamental principles. You don't understand these things. And you go into it and you just think very tactically. And thinking tactically has its place. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but that's more for like optimizing things once they're already working. The tactical stuff doesn't get you to profitable from scratch. Having the main things in place, offer that people want, a hungry market, solid creative, having these things in place, that's the way that you get profitable. Until you're there, all this little tactical stuff, it basically may as well not exist. Like it's not gonna, focusing on that is not gonna get you any further. It might make you feel smart. It might make you feel, you know, cool, whatever. But most of the stuff like Facebook ads targeting, bro, like it's not, there shouldn't ever be a course on that. It's like a 2-minute video. It's like target what makes sense, use a suggestions box to help you find other interests that are similar to that, and do 1 interest per ad set and make sure it's 1 million in size. And that's it. That's all you need.
Wow, need to stop watching videos about e-com.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for clarifying it, because I used to think about that more complex. Yeah,
man. And like, it just sucks because there's so many people putting out content, and it's just like what they're saying might not necessarily be incorrect, but it's just not what you need to focus on. It's like, would you rather do something that can give you a 20% increase in results or something that can give you a 0.5% increase in results? If your results are fucking 80% shit, then you need 4 of those big 20% moves to get yourself profitable. These little 0.5% moves aren't getting you anywhere. And I think a lot of it, bro, most people, especially if you've been around this space for a while and you've watched a lot of videos, you've been involved, like, you know, mentally with this for, you know, a long period of time, like more than 6 months or a year. The biggest challenge that you're going to face is you have to unlearn all this bullshit that you've learned. And that's way harder than learning new stuff.
Yeah, man, I think it totally makes sense to me. Yeah.
I mean, I'm like getting kind of fired up because I'm like super passionate about this. That's the biggest thing to me. It's like, this shit is so fucking simple if you understand that it's simple and you operate in a simple way. none of this is super, I think I'm a smart guy, right? But I'm not fucking a genius by any means. You don't have to be that smart. If anything, you almost have to dumb yourself down, and it's about understanding humans. And if you can think, like, whenever you're attacking something and you have a problem and you're not really sure how to solve it, instead of like just trying to like brute force your way through it, like try to take a step back and think about it at the most basic level. And I'm talking about so basic, like it's kind of embarrassing how basic it is and how simple it is. That's how it should feel. You should feel dumb. When you figure it out that it's this simple, you should feel dumb for thinking it was more complex, because it is so fucking simple, and it's so easy to get caught up on all this complex stuff that just doesn't really matter. And if you're able to do that and you're just able to kind of take a step back and see things from a very, very basic bird's eye view perspective, that's going to take you so much further than getting caught up in the weeds and all this little basketball stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, I used to think, targeting it's like something important, but no. Targeting, it's different from, marketing angles or the market. So when you say, okay, focus on the market and you're trying to build the offer for that, the good, like, marketing angle for that market, that means like the kind of like the marketing part, not the targeting part. So yeah, need to, think less about targeting, but, about the marketing part.
Yeah, man. It's just like, I feel like people ask me questions all the time, and like, I think I'm going to start doing this. I think I need to start doing this. Like, they'll ask me a specific question like, bro, how can I make this video ad better? And I'm like, well, first off, is your offer something people actually want? Because no tweak to your video ad is gonna change the fact that if your offer is something people don't want, no one's gonna buy it no matter how good your video ad is. I mean, some people might buy it, but you're not gonna get good results if your offer sucks. And if you just focus on, I know I'm like fucking repeating myself, but just focus on those fucking fundamental things, and just focus on those when you're first starting. And it's difficult because you get very distracted by all this fucking sexy, crazy shit that's out here. But just fucking go tunnel vision on your offer, making sure that your offer is something people actually want, making sure that your market is specific, that you're selling to people who have ideally some sort of a motivating factor to buy, right? Someone who has a very big problem, for example, that's like a motivating factor, or someone who has a very big passion, that's a motivating factor. Focus on these fundamental things before you worry about all this tactical stuff. And you're going to have this tendency to want to focus on the tactical stuff because you don't know it, right? You don't know it. It's confusing. And your brain, when you don't know something, you want to know it. But just try to ignore it. Just try to ignore it and just focus on the fundamental things, making an offer people want, all these different things. There's really not that many of them. An offer people want, hungry market, specific market, and creative, like good creative and a decent product page. Like that's really it. If you can do those things, all the other tactical stuff becomes basically, it doesn't exist. Like it doesn't need to exist. It doesn't really matter. You just fucking, you're like, oh, should I duplicate this or should I raise the budget? You're like, oh, I don't fucking care. My fucking offer's amazing. People love this shit. And you just fucking click duplicate and you make sales because you have an offer that people want. And that's how you make things easy on yourself, is by just fucking selling something that people want, honestly. That's like the biggest thing.
Hallelujah. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, I have one last question. When can I schedule the peer review of my store with you guys?
Yeah, let's actually, I want to think about, Scotty, I want to talk to you about something like that, because I think I want to set up something like this, and I want it to be somewhat organized, and I want it to be focused on the things that actually matter.
What do you mean by a peer review, first of all?
Like, so I want you to go through there and like, I know you went through it last time, but I like fixed it up. And then I have some questions about some of the, like the apps and stuff like that, and just stuff like that. And also I have some other questions I have. I have a list of questions I have pertaining to the website and other things related to it.
Gotcha.
Because I think I would like to do something like that, but I feel like what might end up happening is like, I'm going to see that and you're going to have these questions, and then I'm just going to be like, well, bro, is your offer, do people want your offer? Like, that's like going to be the first thing, right? Because none of that other stuff matters. Like, just back to what I was saying, none of that other stuff matters if the offer is not something people want. And I want to set up something so that we can go through that. Taylor, can you send me a message, bro? Just a little message on Slack, just like saying like, yo, let me know about the peer review. And then Scotty, I want to talk to you about that because I think we should set something up potentially, some sort of like a template or a system or something where people can, input what they have, and then we can take a look at it. Because I don't know. Somebody like it's helpful to get advice about your store. But ultimately, I really want to make sure that you're focusing on the stuff that really matters. And like, if you put it in the chat, like people are going to have their feedback, and I'm not saying that it'll be bad. I bet a lot of the feedback will be really good. But again, it's like, it might just be inconsequential. It might not matter whether or not your add to cart button is this color or that color, whether or not you have, this is the headline or that is the headline, or whether or not your product photos are in this certain order or that certain order, whatever it is, like the specific stuff that you're, that you're not sure about on your product page. I want to make sure that, all the baseline stuff is covered first. So yeah, Scotty, let's talk about that after the call, and then Taylor, we'll get back to you on that.
All right, thank you. Yeah, because I haven't launched anything yet. I just want to make sure it's presentable before I even launch traffic to it.
Gotcha. I feel you. I feel where you're at. I mean, I have a feeling what's probably gonna happen is like your shit's probably fucking good, and there's probably some improvements you can make to it, which is always the case. But I mean, really the best thing to do is just to get ads up, because it's only useful up to a certain point for us to review stuff before you start running ads, because we could see your store and think that like you need to make all these different changes. But then if you've never run ads, then I mean, well, if you run ads with that, I mean, there's a chance that it might do really well. And if we start fucking with it before you even have any data or know what the results are, I feel like that can be more counterproductive than productive sometimes.
Okay, and like just an example of one of the questions I would ask is like, I imported some products that don't have any alley reviews available. So like 2 out of the 4 don't have any reviews on it.
Is that an issue? I mean, the answer to that is like, it might be an issue. It might not be. Obviously, I mean, you want to have reviews when at all possible. Reviews are, they can be pretty impactful to your conversion rate. Social proof is, it's a pretty big deal. But I'm also running stores that have no reviews, and they're still working, and it just kind of depends on the situation.
It's also only the one main product that you're going to be sending traffic to that's going to matter.
Okay, yeah, no, that
As long
one
as that one
definitely
has
has
reviews, you're straight. Also about your product page, I mean, if you said I sent you suggestions already, if you did that, then you should be looking pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, all I had to do was
you can send me another DM to have a look over it. But I mean, Nate's pretty much right. Like, we can tweak your product page a lot. But if you run ads and you're getting no sales, then a better product page isn't the solution. If you run ads and you're at break even, then a better product page might be part of the solution. If you run ads and you're profitable, then that's excellent. But if you get no sales off the bat, then the product page was not the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and I think Scotty, I don't think you answered this yet. With my store, I've got Harris said with my store, I've got 3 products that all relate to each other. If I was to start marketing another product, will that mess up my pixel? It's fine to market different products in the same pixel as long as it's all within the same general niche, I would say. If there's huge differences between the products and like it's a completely different market of people who buy those 2 products, then you might want to use a new pixel. But generally, you want to keep things as simple as possible, and that's why I wouldn't. I mean, it doesn't even really matter. You've got 3 products, but how's one of them doing? How's the one that you're marketing doing? That's what really matters. For the most part, there's not really a whole lot of reason to have or to be putting a lot of effort into other products besides one product at a time. Because again, 89% of your sales are at any given time are going to come from one product, and so that's why it makes more sense to just focus on one. And then Harris also said, what is the game plan with Facebook from start to scale? I don't know what you mean by that. The game plan, I mean, the game plan is what we lay out in the program.
Game plan is testing creatives and testing ad sets and audiences over time, so that if results are good, you can keep adding more spend, and that you go from spending $40 to spending $60 to spending $70 to spending $80 to spending $100, $120, and so forth. And you shut things off that don't work, and you keep launching new ads and new audiences as long as you have new audiences to test. When you don't have new audiences to test, you just keep running new ads with existing audiences that have worked, and you keep improving your website, your store, keep improving your offer, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I mean, pretty much you don't want to mess with the budget necessarily on like individual ad sets. You don't need to go increasing them there. What I would do is I would just create a new ad set with the same targeting if it's working well, and test a new ad. So if your 1% lookalikes working well, test a new ad with that 1% lookalike. Then you've doubled your budget that you're going to be spending on the 1% lookalike, and you're testing a new ad. Kind of goes hand in hand.
And Nick said, sorry, last question. How many ad sets do you have at the beginning? 5. It's all in the program. It's all in the program. I'm not trying to be like a dickhead and just be like, go look at the program. Stop asking me dumb questions. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the questions that, I mean, maybe not a lot, but definitely some of the questions that some of y'all ask are, you know, they would be answered if you look through the program. So short story, 5 ad sets, $10 a day each. And if you have any more questions about that, then go look in the B.O.S.S School of Business and it'll tell you. All right. Anyone have any other questions? I feel like that was, I feel like I got a lot off my chest on that call. Oh my God. Stop.
The hell still uses Skype? Am I in 2012? What?
Okay, there we go.
Skype's where it's at, Colin. Cool kids only these days.
Yeah, right. I don't even use Skype for my Chinese suppliers. I use WhatsApp.
I hate Skype.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I mean, basic theme of the call is to fucking take a step back, just simplify shit. Just make it fucking simple, bro. Sell stuff that people want. And just try to like look at things like you're a 5-year-old. Like I literally think a 5-year-old, if they had the technical knowledge to be able to do this, like I feel like a 5-year-old might give you better dropshipping advice than like most gurus. It's simple. It's really simple. There's a lot of different moving parts. There's a lot of different variables that you can, you know, get involved with. And there's a lot of things that you're just not going to know. But I think the best move is literally just fucking follow those basic guidelines of just focusing on those things that really matter, the big fucking things, your offer, your angle, your creative, your audience. And then when you don't know what to do, just like fucking do what you think is best. I mean, obviously you always have us to you know, type in the chat and in Slack and see what we think. But most of the time the answer to your question is probably like, it depends on the situation. And most of the time I think that you'd probably just be better off just going with your gut, whatever you think is best, and just fucking up, making mistakes. Like it's totally fucking fine to make mistakes. You're going to do that. That's going to happen. You're going to fail. That's part of the process. And the faster you do that, the better.
It is simple though. I'm teaching my 60-some-year-old mom how to do this, and she's technically Amish, so you know, if she can learn to do it, any one of you can learn to do it.
Dude, that's pretty incredible. What are you teaching her?
I mean, okay, when I say technically, I don't mean like technically as like she's actual Amish. I mean like as far as technology goes, she's Amish. But right now she's looking into market research for dog lovers. Because she was a substitute teacher, but now since school's out, she doesn't have a job, so she's starting this. She wants to do the LED collars. I told her not to, but
That's hilarious.
yeah. She's still figuring out. I mean, it's something you got to figure out on your own. I'm still helping her along the way, but.
Dude, I've been thinking an LED leash would be a good move.
Maybe.
A spin-off of dude, that was like the winning product back in like 2016 or like not even 2016, like 2017, like 2018.
I still see it in some stores nowadays.
Oh yeah. That's how you know it's how you know it's probably time to move on from that product if you start seeing it at fucking Walmart and CVS.
Yeah.
Or when it's the example in every e-com video.
Yeah, exactly. Although the second store I'm starting, I actually saw a TV, or no, I didn't see it, but my dad said he saw a TV ad for the exact thing I'm selling, which is interesting because it's fairly new. But I guess that's a good sign. I don't know.
I mean, if it's working for you, then I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, I'm sticking to Facebook. Fuck TV. Can't measure ROAS on TV.
Oh yeah, you can.
You definitely could with you just put a link in there.
It's like a special link. Nah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
stick
just
to Facebook.
whatever.com/TV or something.
Yeah,
Everyone
I'm gonna
advises
stick to
that.
Facebook.
Yeah, me too. Me fucking too. Although I definitely will have a TV commercial in some form or another someday. That's definitely on the bucket list, the business bucket list. Victor
going
said,
national.
other than death, failure is psychological. I mean, the way I look at it is like you only fail if you give up. Like if you just keep fucking up and you keep failing, like, and you just keep trying, did you actually fail? I mean, if you keep doing that and you just don't give up, there's literally no way not to succeed. I mean, maybe, but if you put all your effort into trying to make something work with e-commerce from now, and then you kept failing over and over again for the next fucking 10 years, there's no way that you wouldn't eventually become successful. And more likely than not, it won't take 10 years. More likely than not, I mean, the longest I've really seen it take for someone who didn't give up and actually kept trying, it's like maybe a year, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, you just don't give up, basically.
Yeah.
That's
my first store got no sales, and I got 150 on ad spend. Now, this is wildly past anything I thought it would get to. My main store, anyway.
Yeah, man. People give up too easily. People give up way too easily. Especially people like, most people that do e-com are kind of like around my age, right? I mean, I think most of y'all, I'm 23. I'm guessing most of y'all are probably within like 5 or so years. And obviously, it's not all of you. There are some,
I'm a boomer.
some of you older guys. But I feel like people who are in my generation are extremely entitled, and they don't think that they need to work hard to get things. And when they test something and it doesn't work, they're just like, oh, well, fuck, I may as well not even try now. Most people just aren't prepared to go through, to fail enough times to succeed. And I mean, it does suck. Like failing sucks. It's definitely like an emotional, it's an emotional roller coaster. And it sucks when that roller coaster is only going one way. But yeah, that's Daniel said very inspiring. Yeah, I mean, my inspiration is just don't fucking give up. That's basically it.
What's the word for the thing, or for the sayings that get overused? Plat something. The sayings that keep getting repeated over and over.
The Nate Schmidt platitude show.
Yeah, platitudes.
Don't fucking give up, bro. I mean, honestly, all the generic like the advice like that, like it's fucking true. Like it's not like that, for no reason. It's fucking true, but it's just been said so many times that we don't even like really think about it. But I think if you really just focus on stuff like that, the very simple stuff, and then just really take it to heart, that's a pretty good way to go.
Yep. Just do it, and do it fast. Speed is key.
Do it and do it fucking yesterday.
Uh-huh. I could be double where I am right now if I did things faster. And with the second store, I'm currently going much faster than I did with my first one. So.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that's just so big. Like you can do things so much faster than you probably think too.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us. Like, bro. I mean, I watched my roommate build out a store in an hour and a half, and I was like I was building out a store the same day, and I was debating whether or not I was gonna push the rest of it off till the next day. And like, meanwhile, he's like got ads up. I'm like, what? And I was like, well, all right, well, fuck you. Now I can fucking finish it. And like his shit it's like super rough, but he gets ads up super fast. And he makes money. Like he I feel like he barely works, bro. He barely does any work, but that's not entirely true. He definitely, I mean, he works hard. But the important part is when he
in between naps,
he's doing it fucking fast.
Yeah.
And then he gets to spend the rest of his time getting drunk and hooking up with random chicks, and I think he enjoys that.
The American dream.
If I had a creative which was bringing me 2 sales a day consistent, is it worth trying new interest? Yeah, definitely. It's a constant process of just testing shit, like just testing more and more shit, more interests, more lookalikes, more creatives. more all that shit. You're basically, I mean, what you're trying to do is, especially once you have something that's like kind of working, you're basically just trying to beat yourself. It's like the most fun game ever. You're literally just trying to beat who you were a week ago when you made those ads a week ago. Are you better now? Are you better enough now to make a better ad? Like, that's really what it is. It's not about doing, it's about being. You got to be the person that can make the better ad. And the only way you do that is by ironically doing. And you do enough, and then all of a sudden you are. And then when you are, then money starts raining from the sky, and your life is fucking beautiful.
I want Lambos to rain from the sky.
Me fucking too, bro. What's the rule on that? Would you say with testing the same creative with new interests out of the calls we've had with this one when you went on oversimplifying that has stopped my overthinking kind of? That's good. That's good. Harris, I think you probably overthink things more than anyone, more than most people. I don't want to say more than anyone, but you definitely do it more than most people that I've talked to. And I mean, like, that's the thing, like even the way you worded that question, I think you know that it like doesn't really matter. Like, probably not. You know, how much time have you spent asking, you know, what's the rule on this, when most of the stuff there, you know, we've kind of established that on this call, there's not really hard and fast rules for a lot of stuff. What if you'd spend all the time worrying about what's the rule on this and that and this and that, and you spend all that time thinking about how to come up with a fucking amazing offer? Think about that. Your results would probably be better.
Hey, I have one last question. So you know how you have in the B.O.S.S builder PDF, you have it like, so I was doing the cleaning thing and it says Magic Mop. So instead of saying Magic Mop on my store, can I just put the brand names and then put mop instead of writing Magic Mop? Or is it like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, a general rule of thumb, the stuff in your builds is it's like Play-Doh. That's all I can think of it. It's like Play-Doh. We give you the fucking Play-Doh, and then it's your job to go out and fucking build something great out of it. So yeah, name the product. You know, we give you, you know, it's the Magic Mop. See what you can come up with. I think the name of the product is a very good opportunity to just basically do more selling, because you can kind of communicate what a product does. Like, say for example, I was looking today at a product related to insomnia, and one of the products was called Knock Me Out! ! And like, I thought that was a really great name for the product, because it's exactly what people are trying to do, right? They just want to be fucking knocked out. And it kind of is like attention grabbing, right? So if you can come up with something that's like kind of attention grabbing like that, and communicates what the product does just in the title and how it will benefit them, like, that can honestly be huge. But yeah, long story short, definitely can change the name of the actual product on your store. And yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend doing that. Because Magic Mop is just not, you know, like it's not bad, but it's not like, doesn't sound super compelling.
Yeah.
Harris said, I know I stress you and Scotty out a lot, my bad. Nah, bro, you're good. And you don't stress us out, bro. It's just like, I think you stress yourself out almost. Yeah. Like, you just worry about, you just worry about shit that like doesn't really matter. Like, there's just so many people in Harris. You're not alone, bro. I mean, this is like, most people at your stage do this. It's like, you're worrying about how you're going to climb the volcano on the island that you haven't even fucking figured out how to build a boat to get to yet. Like, you're worrying about problems that don't exist. They're not there yet. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, for example, like what I say, like in terms of getting clients for freelance copywriting, which is something I used to do and something that I kind of teach sometimes. You know, people worry about being able to write copy for their client before they even have a client. You want to worry about the problems in the order that they actually come up in. There's no point in worrying about problems that you don't have yet. It's not going to do you any good. There's literally no way that it can do you any good. You want to focus on the problems that are in front of you. And for most of y'all at the very beginning stages, again, problem are coming up with an offer that people really want to buy, finding a market of people who are fucking hungry to buy for whatever reason, and making half decent advertising. That's the formula. And aside from that, everything else is just kind of like, you know, it's climbing that volcano on the island that you're not even on yet. You got to fucking build the boat first. Build the fucking boat, swim over there, or fucking paddle over there, whatever you got to do. And once you're there, then you can worry about climbing the volcano.
Earth reminds me a lot of where I was 6 months ago. And yeah, biggest change happened not when I kept watching YouTube videos or kept going over the course over and over again is when I actually started spending money. So
Yep.
on ads.
Yep. And you tend to like, you get more out of it too because you're spending money, bro. When you're spending money on something, you're going to get more out of it. Like this program, for example, you know, you guys have a very strong incentive to actually go out and do this shit for real because you spent a lot of money to be a part of this program. And when you're spending money on ads, like you're going to fucking learn because it's either you learn or you keep burning money. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't like burning money. I fucking hate burning money, actually. It's pretty annoying. I'd rather not burn it.
Doesn't smell very good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm about out of rants for the day. This is definitely going to be a good call. I feel like we should like, I don't know, turn this into a video of some sort on my YouTube channel. I don't know. But yeah, are there any other questions? Because I think we're past the 2-hour mark now. And I'm guessing y'all probably want to get on with your day, don't you? I like hearing myself talk, but Scotty's looking a little on edge over there.
On edge, indeed. I didn't sign up for fucking 2 hours of Nate's rants.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did back in February when we were in Thailand and we decided to fucking start Blue Ocean e-commerce. That's when you signed up for it. All right, cool. Well, y'all, I hope you got something out of this call. It's great to have you all here. Thank you for coming, and you're welcome for being here. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, as always, hit us up on Slack. And just one final thing. Don't take anything I said in this call as like, you shouldn't ask a question. If you want to ask a question, if you are not sure of something, use the resources we have for you here. Even if you think it might be a dumb question, ask us on Slack, either, you know, DM us or put it in the general channel, whatever, or not the general channel. I don't know how to delete the general channel. If you guys are on Slack, like, don't use the general channel if you can do that. Just use Boss Builder. Yeah, we're here to answer y'all's questions. So don't take anything I said in this call as like you shouldn't ask questions, because ultimately, like, that's what the purpose of this program is, for y'all to fucking ask questions, learn shit, get answers, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, don't be shy. We're gonna be around on Slack. Shoot us a message, and we'll talk to y'all in 2 weeks.
Sweet.
Already looking forward to the next rant. Thanks very much. No problem, Victor. All right, y'all. We'll talk next time.
Later.
Peace.